Coming up on First at 4, President Joe Biden visits Israel, meeting with leaders there. And leaders at primary care centers of Eastern Kentucky will celebrate a milestone soon.
And soak up the sun today because rain chances are back by tomorrow. Those details coming up as Mountain News First at 4 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, President Joe Biden is in Israel on an urgent mission to keep the Israel-Hamas war from spiraling into a broader regional conflict. The president's visit comes after hundreds of Palestinians were reportedly killed in an explosion at a Gaza hospital. President Biden landed in Tel Aviv early this morning, where he was greeted with an embrace by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. In his public remarks earlier today, the president said the United States and its allies will not stand by and do nothing as the conflict rages. In addition to those public remarks, the president sat down with Prime Minister Netanyahu.
And I want you to know you're not alone. You are not alone. As I emphasized earlier, we will continue to have Israel's back as you work to defend your people. We'll continue to work with you and partners across the region to prevent more tragedy to innocent civilians.
President Biden says that he urged the cabinet to agree to begin delivering life-saving humanitarian assistance to Gaza. One piece of video verified by CNN reportedly shows the moment a large blast took place at a Baptist hospital in Gaza, in which hundreds of people are reported to have been killed. In the video, the sky lights up as a large blast erupts on the hospital grounds, sending a cloud of smoke into the air. There were conflicting claims of who was responsible for the explosion. Hamas blamed Israel, but Israel denies it. Congress continues to struggle to elect a new Speaker of the House. Republican Jim Jordan has lost a second Speaker vote today. Members of Congress are discussing the need to pass a military support bill for Israel and Ukraine. Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan lost support in today's vote among even more House Republicans. But the congressman says he has no plans to drop out of the race. He says he is looking to win over the Republicans who are not backing him.
Proven I can get from the most conservative members of the conference to the more moderate members of the conference. So got a whole cross-section of the conference. It's important that we get the last few.
Some holdout Republicans are talking with Democrats about a plan to give a temporary speaker more power to reopen the House. Congressman Patrick McHenry, a Republican from North Carolina, is serving right now as temporary speaker.
Well, as expected, the weather is fantastic across the mountains on your Wednesday afternoon, so be sure to enjoy that because we are watching out for some changes as we go into tomorrow. But this afternoon, we stay under a mainly sunny sky. That temperature right now at Buffalo Mountain, 64 degrees as we stay dry under that blue sky. And most of us right now in the middle to upper 60s, so very comfortable, up to 67 for Manchester, 63 in Pikeville, and 66 over in Somerset. At this hour on the radar, we are dry, and as we zoom out, we are tracking some high pressure across our region. But as we look back to the west, we are tracking a cold front over Kansas, Missouri, and Iowa, and that will be our next weather system as we go into Thursday, also into your Friday. But this evening, though, if you have any plans to be outdoors, the forecast is fantastic. We stay dry under a mainly clear sky. Into tonight, though, those clouds begin to increase as that next weather system begins to move closer to the mountains, and we wake up in the middle to lower 50s on Thursday, so not as cool as you wake up and walk out the door. But again, those rain chances are going to increase on Thursday, also Friday. We'll talk about that in more detail in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Cameron, I want to point out something at the bottom of your screen you may have noticed. We have one school district that's closed now the rest of the week due to too many illnesses. Williamsburg Independent, they are closed the rest of the week. One Eastern Kentucky rural health clinic is preparing to open a new facility in Whitesburg. Primary care centers of Eastern Kentucky began about 20 years ago, and they have grown tremendously since. CEO Barry Martin says they started their clinic with 15 employees. He says Primary Care Centers of Eastern Kentucky is the most productive, highest volume rural health clinic in the state and the third largest rural health center in the country.
It was very surprising to think that nestled in a little southeastern Kentucky area that you would have the third busiest rural health system in the country. That's hard to believe.
Primary Care Centers of Eastern Kentucky now has more than 400 employees with more than 45 providers. We will have more on this tonight at 6. But coming up on First at 4, the prime suspect in a high-profile disappearance 18 years ago reportedly confesses to killing the teen.
Plus, we are tracking rain chances to return by Friday, also Thursday. Those details coming up after this break.